Now let's take a look at the bigger picture. Paul Schatz is with us, President and Chief Investment Officer at Heritage Capital. Thank you for being with us. I mean, how are you feeling about the market? We knew August, September, October. You had talked about a market that was a bull market up, until that point, and so you were right on, and then had some nervousness. And now what? Where do we stand now between now and the end of the year?
And that's what's on everyone's minds today. It's always good to see you, Nicole. I thought that we would have this series of stair-step lower lows in August and September and October. I didn't think it was going to get 10%. So the market definitely tested me a little bit. But in hindsight, as we can see now after that powerful rally last week, there was clearly a low of significance last Friday in October. And we know that because of how powerful the rally's been off that low. You had one day where 90% of the volume on the NYSE was in stocks going up. That's a pretty powerful sign. You had this kind of arcane thing called the Zweig breath thrust. It just means the market went from really negative to really positive in a short period of time. The takeaway is, historically, that's never happened during bear markets. It's always happened either at the beginning of bull markets or during a correction. Additionally, 6 and 12 months after this, the market's never been down in the modern era. And we had that last week. So I would say the bulls clearly have the ball. They need to run with it. The VIX never spiked, and I guess I could be wrong on that. I thought that, the VIX had to spike at the low. It never got really into the mid 20s at all. I was hoping for 30. And I hate when markets bottom on Fridays because it makes it, those are rare and it makes it more difficult. But they don't always, ring the bell and give you the easiest bottom call. But look, the bulls have the ball. There should be a rally into January. It should be equal to what we saw last week. It will not be straight up. We'll have some pullbacks along the way. But I think you have to buy weakness in the risk on sectors.
Right. Understood. As we think about this and you have that move, right? You have a 90% down day and then they're buying them back. That's always a good sign when that's happening as opposed to them, selling off more. You have certain sectors that you like more than others, right?
Yeah. So also at the low, as we approach a bottom, I always look and see what sectors are outperforming, what indices are outperforming, and look to see if they're positioned for some really good moves. And to be candid, at that October low, it didn't look like we were about to launch on, a 12 to 18 month rally. And maybe that it's going to take some time to kind of base out and look a little better. But I love tech all year. We've been long what do you want to call them? The Super 7, the Elite 8. We've been long those. I bought a lot of tech in October. We added to I like semiconductors. I like software for sure. I like comm services. I think they should get a bid into the new year. It doesn't mean they have to perform like they have all year, outpacing everybody. But boy, they look like they found their footing and they want more. And then, for folks who are risky and want to really do a mean reversion, meaning take the most awful, ugly, disgusting trades and play that they're so bad they're good, hold your nose and look at small caps. They were decimated 40+% from the 2021 high, and they've underperformed the S&P at a rate not seen in like 50 years. And I'm not saying this is the beginning of their new leadership, but you want to take a shot, you can look at some small cap value. I just wouldn't overstay my welcome. If you're wrong, quickly get out and go and kind of rotate back to tech.
All right, understood, because it is a volatile sector. I mean, and when we're selling, it's small caps sell off even more so, right? I mean, more dramatically. We're seeing that even today. You do have some names that you like. You like Marvell, you like Moderna, you like Onto Innovation. Tell me a little bit about these names. Are these names for the long term? Would you buy into them now?
So let's start with Onto, which it just graduated. It was a small cap, now it's a mid cap, and it's been a phenomenal performer. It's one of those tech stocks. It's in the support space for semiconductors. As I mentioned, I like semis. We own them. We added to them. I'm probably going to add some more into weakness. I think Onto's earnings are out. Today's Wednesday. I think they're out tomorrow. If worst case Friday, if I'm wrong on that. Stocks have almost 100% this year. So there's a lot of air under the stock if they miss. But I love how it's outperforming. I like the group. It's a high flyer. I think it can get into new highs, 150 in Q1 of next year. And, again, don't overstay your welcome. That's Onto. And I'll stay on the semis. And let's go to Marvell, which is a more pure play semi. They actually make the chips and have been doing it for a long time. It is more of a pure play in the AI space. It's not NVIDIA, but it's more along the lines of a poor man's version of NVIDIA, if you will. The stock had a 50% odd rally in May when NVIDIA went on that run, along with Broadcom, and it's been consolidating ever since. It certainly looks like, at least on a short to intermediate term basis, the stock hit a bottom. Have we started this run? I think we have in Marvell. I would buy it into strength. I would buy it into weakness. I think you can get to $70 next year. And what was my last one? Oh, Moderna.
Yeah. Your other one,
So,
Moderna.
Don't laugh. I mean, Moderna's been absolutely, for 2 years, it's got to be down 80% plus. It's been absolutely decimated. So I wanted to find something really unusual, like I always do. Let me say this. This is not a COVID vax company anymore. And I think people are way too focused on their COVID vaccine. They're using their mRNA technology into other areas, which is somewhat widely known. But next year, 2024, they may have revenue from another mRNA vaccine. So they're into RSV, their respiratory disease. They're into cancer. They're into flu. So this is a company that's really broadening out. Like many of those COVID stocks, they glorious rises, epic collapses. And now I think the stock is becoming a real company with real revenue. So I'd say this, even if I'm wrong, let's say I got this whole thing wrong, I think the stock is still going to bounce to $90 when tax loss selling ends. I assume there'll be some more tax loss selling. It's November 8th, so you've got 5 or 6 weeks left. But I think even if I'm wrong, the stock's going to bounce. If I'm right, you're going to have a real nice long-term winner.
All right, thank you for that. And Marvell, the forgotten AI stock, it's very interesting. Paul Schatz, thank you so much of Heritage Capital. Great
Always
to see you.
Always good seeing you. Thanks for having me.